Good morning, everybody, and a happy Saturday morning to you. I hope everybody's week went well. I know mine did. Listen, quick message for you. There will be no live on Sunday or video on Sunday because we're going to be traveling all day to get home. And I'm praying to be able to get a video out to you Monday morning, but there may not be due to the travel and what time we get home on Sunday. So just keep an eye out, and if you don't get one, check the channel. If there's not one Monday morning, you can sure bet that there's one on Tuesday morning. Also, I have a message for you guys at the end of this video, but there's a lot to cover, super long video. Let's just jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. We are starting off today with the Spanish king. He inaugurates the Zaragoza Trade Fair, which is the 44th edition of the International Agricultural Machinery Exhibition. It's a meeting point for professionals, manufacturers, and distributors from around the world to present their latest innovations, boost business opportunities, and share solutions. Sticking with the Spanish king, at the Royal Palace, they hosted the National Sports Awards ceremony. The king and the queen present these awards to athletes, associations, entities, and individuals that are recognized for their support and promotion of sport. Just as an FYI, the King and Queen have presided over the awards ceremony for 2023 and 2024 National Sports Awards in their various categories. And since 1982, these awards have recognized the excellence and commitment of athletes, associations, organizations, and individuals who promote and encourage physical activity. Let's move on now to Luxembourg. They're going to celebrate what's called the Joyous Entree ceremony between 2026 and 2027. This is an ancient tradition where the new sovereign is presented to the population in the country's major cities. And in 2001, Henry and Maria Theresa did this same thing. All right, let's move on to the Norwegian royals. King Harald and Crown Prince Haakon attended the official opening of the Total Defense Year 2026. Now, continuing on with the Norwegian royal family, King Harald, accompanied by Queen Sonja and Crown Prince Haakon, received the President of the State of Palestine for an audience and a lunch at the Royal Palace. Poor king, you know he wants to retire, but he can't. And that would be because of his step-grandson, Marius Borg-Høiby. And apparently one of the women wrote a private note describing their night together as great and cozy. The woman, however, says that she repressed what happened. The way the case is reading, if the woman consented to have sex with him and then went to sleep, he feels that he should still be able to touch her even though she only consented to the initial, get together. All right, next up, let's move on to speed skater Gettr Leerdam. She shared a really nice moment that she had with King Willem-Alexander the day after she won her gold medal. She apparently was greeted with a big hug by the king. Everybody looks happy. Her family is there cheering her on. I think that's lovely. All right, next up we have Princess Sofia of Sweden, who spoke out about the fact that she had had some contact with Jeffrey Epstein. I love the fact that she spoke directly to the media. And basically what she said was she had met him in some social settings, but now that she had read about his terrible crimes, she's grateful she had nothing to do with him since the times that she met him in her 20s. She also said that her thoughts go out to the victims and she hopes that they get justice. She said that they met at a restaurant in a social, scenario, and she was introduced to him, and then she also saw him at a film screening, and she said, thank God that was all. Now, keeping with the Swedish royal family, King Carl Gustaf sent a letter to the Governor General of Canada following the horrible attack at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School in British Columbia. Let's hit up the UK royals now. We're going to start with Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh. He's become patron of the British Exploring Society, following in the footsteps of Prince Philip. This charity opens up opportunities for young people to discover remote and challenging parts of the world. Let's move on now to Queen Camilla as president of the Amber Trust. She hosted a reception at St. James Palace on February 10th. And the reception was to celebrate 30 years of the trust, which provides musical opportunities for blind and partially sighted children, including children with complex issues. Just as an FYI, this charity is the only national charity dedicated to supporting vision-impaired children in their musical development and education. And let's move on now to another event, the Turquoise Mountain's 20th anniversary exhibition at the Garrison Chapel in Chelsea Barracks, London. This was founded by the King in 2006. Now, what Turquoise Mountain is, it's to support artisans and communities to protect and revitalize cultural heritage. And this has been going on now for about 20 years. These pictures are so pretty, I'm just going to put music to them. Enjoy. Let's move on now to Prince William. He left Riyadh and he landed in the other area of Saudi Arabia. Sorry guys, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. He was greeted with the purple carpet. Look at all those cameras on him. That's just crazy. Anyway, he was greeted because they had a lot of things to do the next day. There were multiple things and it was, William's last day. Well, to start with, he was taken on a tour of an old town. It apparently is one of the region's most historically significant areas. I have to tell you, that's some very stunning and very interesting architecture that's all around him. If you take a look, it looks like the mud and brick city from before, but just look how pretty. All right, now moving on, later on, William met Abdullah Ahmed. He's the director of agriculture at the Royal Commission, and he provided an overview of the community activities taking place. Where he was at that point was the Oasis and Eco Gardening Farm. Looks like William heard all about their sustainable farming techniques that they have going on there. Also, as you're about to find out, there's a reason why they call it the Oasis. You see all the lush vegetation and all the trees and all the greenery compared to where William was about to go. That's right, William was taken to a 7,000-year-old archaeological area in Saudi's Medina region. He went to the Shiran Nature Reserve, where he met rangers and heard all about their work protecting and helping to conserve wildlife and the natural world around them. He also visited the Wildlife Conservation and Biodiversity Project, and while he was there, he spoke with the CEO of the Royal Commission, Abir al-Akel. William also spoke with Prince Badr bin Abdullah bin Farhan Al Saud, who happens to be the Minister of Culture and Governor for the Royal Commission during the Wildlife Conservation and Biodiversity Project. All right, so before William left the area, he also planted a tree. Now, William, during this visit, saw a number of natural heritage and cultural landmarks as part of that official visit. William was briefed on environmental sustainability initiatives, as well as Saudi-British partnerships in arts and culture, at the art district. And the program also highlighted initiatives that are supporting the development of their cultural oasis. And of course, while he was meeting with the rangers at the Conservation and Biodiversity Protection at the Nature Reserve, William learned about the vital conservation efforts that are underway to protect the natural wildlife and the landscape. This visit from William really underscored the alignment of unified efforts and the preparation of natural habitats in line with their objectives. They're trying to protect the biodiversity and ensure the sustainability of the natural ecosystem. Well, after this, of course, it was time for William to leave and head back to the UK. So he said goodbye, he got on his plane, and he headed back to the UK. Back to, you would hope, jubilation because it was a good visit, but as it turns out, he went home to a mess. So here's what happened. A complaint was submitted by Republic, the anti-monarchy campaign group, and it's called for the scrutiny of Earthshot's relationship with DP World and its chairman, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem. As the anti-monarchy campaign group, Republic's primary aim is to secure the abolition of the monarchy. So this complaint follows U.S. reporting on newly released Epstein-related court files that reference a Sultan bin Sulayem. One email disclosed within the material, according to the U.S. report, contains the phrase, "I loved the torture video." The originally released version was rejected, but no findings have been made against Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem. And a spokesman for the Charity Commission told GB News, "We're aware of a concern about the source of funding to the Earthshot Prize, and we're assessing the information to determine any steps and if there's a role for the commission." Their statement does not amount to a finding against Earthshot, and the regulator has not announced an outcome. The commission said it's assessing the information provided to determine what steps may follow and whether it even has a role. DP World, just so you know, is described as a founding partner of Earthshot Prize, and it's giving a £1 million investment that would be split between two finalists, with the funding intended to help scale environmental projects in the region. All right, let's step back into the Beckham family feud because, Mark Anthony was named in the Beckham statement that was so terrible. He said, this is really unfortunate. I've known these people since before the kids were born. He's godfather to Cruz. He loves the family. He says, I have nothing to say about what happened. It's unfortunate how it's playing out, but it's hardly the truth. Don't forget, this whole thing happened because, according to Brooklyn, his mother hijacked his first dance with Nicola at their wedding reception and danced very inappropriately on him, leaving him uncomfortable and humiliated. However, we found out later on that they had already been dancing. They'd already had their first dance. Other people were dancing when Anthony took the stage to perform, and he was supposed to allegedly introduce Brooklyn and Peltz for another dance on a specially built stage, and instead he, called Brooklyn up to dance with the most beautiful woman in the room, and that was Victoria, not the bride. And then that's when Victoria got up on the stage and wrapped her arms around Brooklyn, and later her head on his shoulder and nuzzled his neck as a mother would, as any mother would. And Nicola ran out of the room crying. And yeah, whatever. Let's move on to Andrew. This is just getting worse and worse. A document sent by Andrew to Jeffrey Epstein included information on investment opportunities in gold and uranium in Afghanistan. There was a briefing prepared by Andrew when he was a trade envoy, which he forwarded to Epstein in December of 2010 with a list of high-value commercial opportunities. Not good. And another email came out about Sarah Ferguson. David Stern, one of Jeffrey Epstein's advisors, told Epstein in 2009 that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's former wife was $10 million in the red. The email shows Epstein wrote to Mr. Stern on the 6th and says Fergie will be in an hour. Please ask her about option number 1, bankruptcy. Option number 2 is a deal with John Caldwell. He is the founder of Phones for You, who wants 50% of her life earnings going forward for $10 million, meaning paying off her debt. And the offer, of course, had to be verified to make sure it was real. And the email footer includes mention of tax consultancy and accounting firm Asia Gateway, which is a company founded by German investor Mr. Stern, which he ran until 2013. These messages were discovered, oh my God, there's like more than 3 million documents relating to Epstein, which we know are being released by, the government. Since then, Mr. Caldwell's team have clarified that he met Fergie through his support of her charity work, and she later approached him to talk about clearing her debts. His office said that he didn't know Fergie was speaking with Epstein about the matter, and he decided against doing a deal with her. And where has Sarah been all this time? Everybody's been looking for her. Well, she was in the French Alps with some friends, and then she moved on to the UAE, and she's been spending time with Princess Eugenie, who was in the region for work and, at the art fair in Gettr. So far from issuing another public apology over the continuing revelations that are coming out regarding her friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, it's understood that she's already scouting around for a new PR team to represent her because she plans on returning to the UK. Apparently, she's openly told her friends she needs to get back to work because she needs money. She's also made it clear that this new future of hers does not include her ex-husband, despite once describing them as the happiest divorced couple in the world. Well, let's be honest, she was living with Andrew because it was free. Now, over the years, she has repeatedly publicly championed Andrew, describing him as a good, kind man and a fabulous father, while sidestepping the growing allegations being leveled, against him. She plans on putting distance between herself and Andrew. She will not be joining him at his new home. She's either going to buy or rent a house in the Windsor area, and friends are saying she's kidding herself if she truly believes that she can just pick up where she left off and have a normal life, especially as more and more emails come out. If all of that wasn't bad enough, newly released emails from February of 2026 reveal that Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Mandelson discussed whether Sarah Ferguson should admit to medication abuse as a strategy to rehabilitate her image. Because Mandelson expressed sympathy for her desperate situation, but initially resisted the rehab idea, saying it would be awful for her and the girls, but eventually conceded that, it's an option. I think everybody should keep in mind there is absolutely zero evidence that Sarah actually suffered from medication addiction or even attended a rehab facility for such a reason. So it was just something that they were looking for to try to help her out. All right, let's move on to our Harry-Meghan stuff. Number one, it's being said that Meghan is being very cautious about Harry's plans to reconcile with the royal family, thinking that it will, negatively impact the As Ever brand because they're dealing with the fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein saga. So basically, she doesn't want Harry and the association with the royals for this reason, basically. And at the same time, there's a lot of divorce fears talk. They're still publicly pushing the it's us against the world narrative, but their professional lives have absolutely split. They're on different schedules. They spend lots of time apart. They come together for the occasional one-off appearance just to keep up the image of being a team. But for the most part, they're literally operating individually. Meghan is focused on Hollywood and creating her brand. Harry is at a different pace. He finds schmoozing with the Tinseltown types boring, and he's pouring all of his energy into Invictus and trying to get back in with his family. The marriage is nowhere, they're saying, near as perfect as it seems, and that's really evidenced by how separate their lives are when the camera is off. Being reported that Harry barely leaves the house, in the United States. Their career arrangement isn't doing them any favors as a couple. Harry wants to spend more and more time in the UK. Things don't look like they're going to improve anytime soon. Meghan doesn't want to be there, and Harry can't force her. And so the suggested compromise is that Harry blocks out regular trips for work commitments and to build on the truth with his father. And while Meghan is supportive of the plan, it's likely going to lead to serious distance in the marriage. So right now, there's no suggestion that they're planning to end things, but we do know that Meghan is already looking for a divorce book to make some money off of this. And, listen, she'll still be able to use the Duchess of Sussex title if they divorce, so I mean, whatever. Now, as far as Meghan wanting to break into Hollywood, it's being said that the only reason Harry and Meghan went to Kris Jenner's party was because she needs to be seen with A-list celebrities to gain support. But of course, things became complicated and were not handled correctly by their PR team, and we know that that turned into Photogate. I mean, there were no A-lists supporting her for her podcast. There were no A-listers supporting her on her cooking show. She needs these people. Yeah, I believe she does. All right, you guys, now before we go, I want you to look at this channel. This is a gentleman who started a channel. He uses drone shots. He does all kinds of interesting things. And I met him in Mexico at the wedding. For those of you who are trolls, don't worry. He's been duly warned about any hate he might get. He says he could care less. He'll just block you from his channel. But for those of you who are interested, you may want to go take a look at what he's got to offer. It's pretty cool stuff. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, and a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.